The Floor Academy podcast is sponsored by Trelama, the trade labor marketplace, where businesses can find skilled trade labor, such as flooring installers, and where flooring installers and other skilled tradespeople can find permanent or project work. You can set up your profile at trelama.com, TRALAMA.com, or download the app from the Apple App Store or Google Play. And remember, Trelama is always free for skilled tradespeople. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hyden, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in Mesa, Arizona. We are here to talk with flooring professionals from all over the country about the issues that matter to you. I want to encourage you to learn while you earn. This week's guest is Nathan Hyden. Nathan is getting ready to launch a Step Above Flooring in Lexington, Kentucky. We spend our time discussing what it takes to run a successful business, how to manage a partnership, and why confidence will take you way further than you know. Nate Hyden, are you there?
I'm here.
Awesome. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast.
Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, my pleasure. We're going to do something a little bit different this time, I think. And I'm not trying to make myself the star of the show, as I that's totally for you. But you are just starting a new business venture, and so we're gonna flip flop it here, and we're gonna let you play 20 questions, and we may not get to 20 questions, but essentially we'll play 20 questions with you, and you can pick my brain. And we'll see how well I do leading you on starting a business and putting it out there and growing it. So that's kind of the agenda here, folks. And we'll see how this format goes. And maybe we'll do more of them in the future. But Nate, why don't you introduce yourself? Give us the 30,000 foot view of who you are, and we'll take it from there.
All right. So I'm Nathan Hyden. I'm out of Lexington, Kentucky. My business is currently Hyden's Hardwood. I started that about 9 years ago, and I'm in the process right now of actually me and my partner starting a new business called A Step Above Flooring. I grew up, I'm a second generation installer. I grew up in the business. My dad was a carpet installer. He was a very good carpet installer. I started going to work with him as a kid. Got an interest in the industry and doing it. And it really was like never my goal to get into the industry and not really what I wanted to do, but I kind of fell into it and really started working full time when I was about 18. And then started my own business, Hyden's Hardwood, at 23, and that's really been like a installation business, subcontracting and stuff like that. And now I'm in the process of, with me and my partner, starting a second business, a full service flooring business called A Step Above Flooring. So it's what I've really just been doing lately is focusing on learning all the aspects of running a business, because subcontracting work from a company and running a successful flooring business is two completely different things, and that's what I've really been focusing on now is learning how to run a business and everything that goes in it, and everything like that. So that's where I'm at now. It's how I met Kyle, and I've been talking to Kyle, so that's where we're at.
Okay. Well, I'm going to disagree with you that running a successful subcontracting thing is different than what you're trying to build. In that, no matter what, you're running a business, and it just matters how seriously you take it, in my opinion. So you can run a really, actually right before this, a couple episodes before this, we've got our Mario Fernandez interview, and
Floor God.
Floor God. He shut down running a large business to only sub labor and just be a labor shop. And so it's a choice you have to make, right? You can offer everything. You can get the store, you can have the work, you can have the design, you can do everything, or you
Yeah.
can just have labor, and it's still
Right.
a business. There's just theoretically less responsibility behind it because you show up, you get handed a piece of paper, you drive there. There's only incoming checks to keep track of for work. There may be a little less work in my opinion, but it's still a business. If you take it seriously,
Right.
you can be very successful at it.
And that's honestly a question I've asked myself a few times lately because, on the subcontracting end, I've done well. Like, I feel like with that, like I'm in a very good position right now. I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm
Mhm.
doing good. I have great relationships with local stores and stuff like that. So I've asked, like, I'm like, is this really or is this really what I should be doing? And but I think it is. Like I get to where I'm too comfortable with where I'm at, or I feel like I'm not going anywhere, and I feel like I'm really ready to
Mhm.
go to the next level and get into being a full service flooring business. So
Well, and I don't think you have anything to lose, right? Like you
right,
go out, you're already you're already doing the work, right? So now you're just adding more on top of it, right? You're going to have to find the work,
exactly,
you're going to have to bid the work, you're going to have to deliver on what you promised. So if that
right,
doesn't work out after a couple of jobs or a year, you've already proven that you can be a successful sub. So like
yep,
there's not really a lot to lose in my opinion. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? There's either a huge reward because you're taking a bigger risk, or you lose a little bit, but you have this like safety net back there that you're not going and burning bridges with all these shops that you sub from. As far as I know, that would be foolish to be like,
nope.
I'm gonna go steal all your work, haha, screw you guys, you don't pay me well
Yeah.
enough. Like I that doesn't sound like you're that guy.
All the shops I work for, 100% are behind what I'm doing and want to see me successful, whether I'm working for them or I'm working for
Mm-hmm.
myself. And I think that's key to, you know, find those type of shops that are that way. And they care about what you're doing, they care about the industry, and they want to see you successful, whether you're making them money or you're making yourself money. And I think too, another thing is that, you know, a lot of people have to realize that there's nothing at all wrong with being a successful subcontractor. I think that's kind of something that I've seen a lot of lately is that, working for shops are the wrong way to go, and they're not going to pay you enough money. And that's the situation with some shops, but that's not the situation with every shop. And
Mm-hmm.
you can be very successful and make a lot of money and be very happy and very content in your situation, being the go-to guy for the premier shop in your area. So I don't want it to be like a misrepresented that that's not a good way to go, because it definitely is for a lot of people. And
Yes.
I did it very well and very happily for a long time. And, so I don't want it to look like you think that that's not a good way to go, because I think it is for a lot of people.
No, I 100% agree. Not every shop is the shop for you.
Right.
There's going to be shops that pay worse. There's shops that pay better. There's shops that are going to give you more respect. There's shops
Yep.
that'll give you less respect. You have to find what's going to fit best for you. What fit best for me from the get go was I knew I wanted my own company. That's why I'm
Yep.
in the position that I'm in. I knew from the get go, this is what I'm doing. When I was hired on by the two companies I was hired by, I said, the state says I need 2 years experience. I'm going to get that 2 years experience. I'm going to go get my own license, and I'm going to go sell my own jobs. For the most
Right.
part, that's pretty much what happened. So it's you got to follow what you want, and I think your instincts, your gut, whatever you want to consider it, is going to guide you more than anything. I mean, there's
Yep.
times where like my guts told me this is not a good client and I don't want to deal
Yep.
with it, and I back out, and my life is much better for it. So if your
And
gut
for most
says,
people, though, man, that takes years and years and years of being in the business and dealing with clients, and to learn that
Yeah,
every client's not for you. And sometimes the best job you'll ever do is a job you didn't do.
correct.
And if when you deal with the wrong client enough, you get to know that. But a lot of people start out, man, and there's not a ton of work, and your phone's not blowing up off the hook, and you're going to take any job you can get,
Yes.
and it gets you in trouble a lot of times. So
Oh,
that's tough lessons,
I
man, that
chased
you learn coming up.
I chased a lot of dollars, man. I can go
Yeah,
back and I can look at the invoices that I have from 2017 on my computer, man, and I look at those rates and I'm like, I was insane. But
yeah,
I was out there, I was building something. And so, I had to learn my value, my worth. I had to learn how to sell. I'd never had a sales job before. I didn't think of myself as a salesman. Now I do. I don't like to admit it, but I am. And
yeah,
things change. You grow, you mature, you learn, and you keep building, and you learn how to market yourself better to the clients that you want to get to. I mean, up until, I don't know, probably like late. Well, no, I mean maybe it was before the Rona hit. I don't know, 2017, 2018, maybe part of 2019. Like I'm pretty sure I'd still chase just about every call that came in. Like if I
yeah,
got a message, I was like, yes, let's schedule an estimate. I'll come out. I'll look at your job.
yeah.
And
Let
really,
me get in your house and talk to you, no matter
exactly
what.
correct. Yes,
Yeah,
I had to go see it. I couldn't give you a number over the phone. I had to see it. I had to go look at it. I had to experience you. And this
yeah,
year I've really worked on, like, after having the episode with Joshua Crossman about, not doing free estimates in person, right? Like I'll do a free estimate over the phone, but if you want me in person, it's a consultation and there's a fee for a
yeah.
consultation. And so that's been the big switch for me this year
And
is
that
that
should be the industry standard. That should be across the board for everybody, no matter what
I'm okay with it not
industry
being.
you're do what.
I said I'm okay with it not being, to be honest, because it's another thing that separates me from everybody else. Well,
Right.
nobody else charges. Why do you? Well,
And that's the
because.
most important, I think. And that's what I've been trying to really instill into my head. And that's because, man, that's for the past year, that's all I've done is research and marketing strategies and business strategies and what works and what doesn't. But, um, what separates you from the three other people that are putting a bid on this job? What separates you and what makes you different from everybody else in the pack? And that's what I've really been trying to focus in on and figure out what's gonna set us apart. And it's about branding yourself a certain way. And I don't think a lot of people do that. I think a lot of people are just going out and let's figure out, what does this store charge for jobs, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll charge 10 cents less and I'll get the job. And, you
Correct.
know, there's a market for that, but that's not the market you want to be in either. Or maybe it is.
Maybe it
Maybe,
is. That's not
maybe
the
it is.
market I want to
But
be in.
that's the thing too, though, is like, for these guys that are starting out and they got 2 years of experience and they're out on their own and they wouldn't stay with their guy that would, whatever, they're trying to be out on their own. That's your market. Like, get those jobs and learn and build your brand and build your knowledge, and then you can go to the next level. So like, there's no shame in taking those jobs. Like, there's people who
No.
want to pay you just a little bit of money to get some floor down. They don't care what it looks like. And there's guys who need to do those type of jobs to get where they need to be. So there's no shame in that. But I'm trying to get into, the higher market.
Correct.
So
Well, look, dude, I started off, I was $1 a square foot for laminate or vinyl plank, and I was $1 a linear foot to pull your base, clean the caulking off the back, label it so I could put it back quickly,
yeah,
install it, and caulk it again. And now, so here I am. That's like 2017 rates. Okay, so here I am in 2021. I'm $250 a square foot, and I'm $350 a linear foot on base.
yeah,
And even I keep it the rate the same if I install new, because I figure it takes about the same amount of time to clean it and label it as it does to like measure and cut it.
Right.
So those prices are crazy different. And that's only in 4 years. But I had to start off as the dollar a square foot guy hustling on the weekends. I was in a Chevy Cavalier, a 2002 Chevy Cavalier. My shop vac rode shotgun. The
Yeah.
the miter saw, I had the 10-inch like Ryobi compound miter saw, and then I had
Yeah.
my DeWalt table saw, and those rode in the back seat with like I think the nail gun fit back there, and the my oscillator, and then in the trunk I was able to put my air hose and the compressor, and like that was it, man. I was like rocking jobs with a bucket of hand tools and minimal like saws, right? Like I probably wasn't
Yeah.
pouring any self level ever. Like it was get in, get this floor down, learn how to do it a little bit faster and a little bit better, and make my money, and off I went. So
Yeah.
you gotta start, everyone's gotta start somewhere, and you just,
Got to
if
start
that's where you
somewhere.
want to stay, man, cool, go make your money, man. Do you. I wanted the challenge of trying to compete at the top of the market. You mentioned branding earlier and that guys don't necessarily understand it. And I agree with you, right? They think they come up with the name. Like you have a step above flooring, okay?
Yep.
And it has a logo now. You got that developed. Well, that's your brand. But
And
it's
that's,
not.
there's a
That's
reason we picked that name too. It's not just because, that's just a name we came up with and it sounds cool. Like, that's our brand. That's what we're really trying to market ourselves as, is the people that go a step above.
mm-hmm.
We're the people who, know the manufacturer specs, and we're doing it that way. We're the, if we do your job and for whatever reason, a mill rep has to come and look at this job, it's going to pass the inspection. It's going to be covered because we did the job right. And we're the
Mm-hmm.
same. When we do every job we do, if we're doing, laminate, vinyl plank, hardwood, whatever, we have a backpack vac and we clean your entire house. We're going to leave your house cleaner than it was when we got there. And
Yeah.
it's like, and a lot of people don't, a lot of carpet guys vacuum, but not a lot of hardwood guys or hard surface guys vacuum. So, and it's the whole process from the beginning, to walking in and or to talking on the phone with the customer, to coming to their house, to, set the expectations of what we're going to do while we're here, and being responsive and answering all their phone calls. And it's the whole process all the way through. Like we're
Yes.
really trying to do that and go a step above and make sure we give you an experience that's better than any other contractor you've ever worked with. So, that's why we picked that name, and that's
Yeah.
what we're trying to brand ourselves as.
And you'll get there, right? You have a plan in place to make that an actual brand instead of a
Yep.
name, and to market a name. Market it. Okay, so like you have a company and you can market it, right? That's you trying to attract people to give you sales.
Yeah.
When you're talking about branding, that's name recognition, right? When you go in a restaurant and you want a carbonated beverage, what do you specifically say? I want a,
Coke.
there you go.
Yep.
That's branding. Okay.
Yep.
If I tell you that there's two big round ears, who am I talking about?
Mickey Mouse.
There it is, right? That's
If you got to
branding.
sneeze, you need a Kleenex, not a
Correct.
tissue. That's
Exactly.
branding.
Correct. It's
Yep.
here, we'll try this one. 800-588.
I don't know.
No? Okay. I'm sure a lot of people probably were able to finish it. 800-588-2300. Empire.
Empire. Yeah.
There it
Yeah.
is. Okay. That
Yeah.
is stuck in your head, man. It is ingrained in there. It has been programmed into you. It's disgusting. That's
It's
branding.
disgusting, isn't it? Yeah.
That's what you're after, right? When people my buddy Anthony Moses, man, he's always talking about how he wants to change Baton Rouge. Go listen over there at the Floor Masters
Oh yeah,
podcast,
check it
right?
out, man.
So
Yep,
he's always
he's
talking
got it.
about he wants to make luxury custom tile installations synonymous in Baton Rouge with simply intricate designs. Like there's no other
It's
name to
awesome, man.
think of, okay?
Yeah.
So that's essentially what you're talking about is step above flooring. You want to offer this service that when people hear that name or when they think about what kind of quality they want done,
Yep.
it's this one. There is nobody else to consider. And that's when you know you're staying top of mind with people, which is huge, right? It's not always about being in your face trying to sell at people and
Yep.
saying, "Hey, hire me, hire me, hire me." It's subtleties. One of the biggest carpet places around here, they're like the local empire. They're called Carpet Express. Is
Yep.
used so much, man. They have billboards everywhere. They have advertisements on TV all day long. Like they are in your face, but it's the billboards aren't anything else other than like Carpet Express. You know,
Yep.
get we have this deal right now. It's just something that's there to keep them in your mind so that when you think you need flooring, you need Carpet Express.
Yep.
And those are the little things you're going to be working on, right? I bought one of the local restaurants was selling space, like ad space on their tabletops. And it's a city I do a lot of work in. And it's a very popular pizza establishment. So for me to get guaranteed exposure on a tabletop for 2 years was a no brainer. I think I paid like
Right.
$1,200. So that's $600 a year for each location. Dude, they're super popular, man. There's tons of people, even with like COVID and it being closed for a few months. I don't care because people go in there and they start looking at the tables and they just see it. They see the
Yeah.
name, they
They're
see the
waiting on it
number. That's
for
all they
in
need to
and
see.
out. And if they need some flourish, they're going to write that number down and
Well,
they're
it's
going to give
it's
you a
it's
call.
not that. It's that they see it, right? I just need them to see it. I don't care if they write the number down. That's not what it's about. Then they're going to see my ads on Facebook in their local community group. It's
And then
just
they'll
one
remember
more
when
thing.
they need some
Correct. It's
flourish.
just that
Yeah.
little top of mind
Ingrain it into their
recognition.
mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm the guy. I'm the guy. So,
Yeah. And that's what I'm starting to realize now too, man, is because like, when I started working for myself, I was 23 years old. And I thought that, you know, nobody cares about, what kind of van I'm driving. This is me as, 23 years old thinking that nobody cares what kind of van I'm driving or,
mhm.
as long as I go into everybody's house and that's one thing I've always done from the very beginning. That's the way I had some very good teachers and I was lucky that, my dad taught me, if we're going to do a job, we're going to do it right every time. And I worked with another guy, Jeremy. He taught me the same thing. Like, we're always going to do stuff right. So I always had that mindset, but it took me a little while to realize, like, that's just a very, very, very small percentage of it is doing a great job every time.
Mhm.
It's the whole experience. It's, pulling up in the right type of vehicle and having, you and your team having matching shirts and, the whole experience from beginning to the end is really what it's all about. Like, doing a good job for people and making sure their floor is done right, that's great, but it's a very, very small percentage into a very small part of what you're really trying to do and what you're really trying to accomplish. Like, if you want somebody to recommend you to their cousin, then you better make sure you have the whole package and the whole, you come in correct and everything's good from
Mhm.
start to finish, or they're not going to do that.
Correct.
And it took me a little bit to get that because I always thought, man, I know what I'm doing. Like I've been doing this since I was a kid. Like I know how to do a good job for people, but it's the whole thing, man. So
Well, it's go walk on somebody else's project, right? And there's an easy one, okay? Like I just got reminded of an old episode a few days ago, and so it was, call them a client, not a customer, okay? And then it
right,
was that Scott Zito has a studio, not a showroom, not a not a storage space, right? Not like he has a studio that you can go to, right? You can go come view flooring at my studio. So
yeah,
that's fancy. All right. And then it's a
yeah.
project, not a job. There's like little keywords you can
You
use
have
to
an apprentice,
differentiate
not a
yourself.
helper.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything, all these little things are going to give people a different
It makes a huge difference, man. All the way
expectation.
down to what kind of tools are you using? Like we bought an airlift or air mover for moving refrigerators,
Mm-hmm.
and like what kind of brand of tools do you like? Do you like Milwaukee or DeWalt or whatever it is? But try to be uniform in that so everything looks the same because that really matters. Like, and even if it's not uniform, but just, present yourself a certain way and if you showing up with a $100 Ryobi table saw and showing up with the right equipment, the right setup, people, you think they don't, but people pay attention
They
to that.
do.
And it's not only the person you're doing the job for, it's their neighbor across the street, and then
Mm-hmm.
the guy two houses up, and then the car that rides it by that sees your truck in the driveway that's wrapped and has your business name on the side of it, or your yard sign that you leave for 2 weeks after you did the job. All that stuff factors in, and
It
I feel
does.
like a lot of people, don't really go that extra mile to make the difference.
Well,
So
so what I was going to say is, you can go walk somebody else's project and, their guys might have boards laying all over and there's cut off pieces all over and there's trash all
yeah,
over and the boxes are strewn about and there's tools in this room and that room. And like, I try and keep the work area pretty clean. And then when I'm done with a room, I don't move on to the next thing until all that stuff's cleaned up, gone through,
yeah,
right? All my end pieces go with me. All my starters go with me. The trash goes in the trash. The tools that I don't need anymore get put away. Like, I try and keep a very organized job site. And then you brought up people driving by. If your trailer's on that street or your van's on that street and the doors are open and your trailer looks like a pile of garbage was just thrown in it,
yeah.
is that really the like expectations of your services that you want to set? First impressions go a long way. And I don't know how I ever got work. I used to be driving just this hoopty Ford Expedition, man.
Yeah.
It was missing like the front plastic pieces and like lights were hanging, like the fog lights were hanging down, like swinging. Dude, it was rusted, it was sun faded, the clear coat was peeling off, like it was just a hoopty. And I landed really good projects in it. But I'll tell you what, man, when I pull up and my 2012 F-150 that I have now pretty much looks brand spanking new.
Yeah.
But and I pull up in that, and it gives you a little bit more confidence to go into somewhere. And you're right, people do
That's
look.
everything, man. That's everything is having that confidence and believing in what you're doing, the service you're offering, and being 100% confident in it. And the customer is always going to see that. If you're nervous and you don't believe in really what you're doing, and that's all going to show through. So,
Mm-hmm.
and just showing up in the right vehicle may help you to have that confidence, but it also helps the customer to have that confidence too. So that's a big part of it. In it is just believing in what you're doing and caring about what you're doing. And there's so many guys out here, man, that don't care. They don't care. They don't care what this job. I'm the type of person, man. Like I'll lose sleep over it. I've literally lost sleep
Yes.
so many nights where I'll be on a job, and especially, man, because I got to the point for a while, a couple of years back, where I was working too many people and trying to do too much, and you can't control everything when you're doing that. And maybe you have the wrong people or whatever the situation is, but if the job's not going the way you want it to in your head, and this person didn't do this the way you would have, and you go, and I will lose sleep over that, and I'll sit in bed at night and I'm just thinking like, man, why did we do this that way? And when you can have everything in order and you have all the right guys with you, and you believe in everybody that's with you, you've taught them the right way to do things, and you can go do a good job for somebody, and you leave that house and it's done 100% right. Like if I did that job for my mother or my grandmother, I would have done it the exact same
Yeah.
way. Or if I did it in my own house, I would have done it the exact same way. And you can go home and sleep good at night, then you better believe while you're doing that job, the customer recognizes that and sees that in you, and they believe in you and what you're doing the same way you believe in you and what you're doing. So that's a big part of it.
I agree. I agree. I mean, there's been times where, right, like that's what gets left in reviews for me is stuff like that. And that's people that read my reviews, they've already decided to go with me. And I think that's another big step, is that
Yep.
on your way out that door, when they're getting ready to write you that check, it's reviews go a really long way for my company. If you wouldn't mind leaving one on Google or Yelp or Facebook, and make sure that, you don't just say that Step Above Flooring did a great job. If you can list off what was different between from us versus like any other contractors you've ever dealt with, if we were timely, if we were clean, things like that, I'd really appreciate it. It goes a long way in helping us get future projects.
Yep.
And
And you
they
want
do
that
it.
customer to be 100% happy to write you that check. You want them to be, when they're writing that check, they feel like they got their money's worth. They paid for a service. They got exactly that. Because I know I've been in a position where, I have a guy come help me, and then I got to write him a check at the end of the week. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, this guy didn't earn this check. Like, I'm going to give it to him, but man, I really don't want to, because this was all more trouble than what it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
And, you never want to be in that situation with the customer. You want them to be happy to write you that check, and it was money well spent, and you took good care of them. And, when they have a future product or a future project, or their family member does, they're going to call you back and, want to spend some money again. So,
Yep. No, you're exactly right. I mean, I just finished up a project I did for, actually, it was for an old friend of Mark Harakovic. And this is the second time they just bought a new place. And so I
yeah.
took out almost every piece of flooring in it and put down a bunch of LVP in it. But we'd done hardwood in a previous home, and they were thrilled, man. It was a super easy process for them. Work turned out nice. We were able to work with the painter and make things happen. Like, it just super smooth, and like that relationship goes a long way when they can come in and see that they're getting quality and that you keep their house clean. Like, it just, like you said, it all really makes a difference. It plays into it, and they're happy to
Yep.
go out of their way, right? These are people that will keep you top of mind all of the time. So when their friends say, I need flooring, you're going to call, you have to call these people. This is the only option.
Yep.
There's nobody else. And so,
And that's the best feeling, man. That's the best feeling when, like, you put, everything into, offering the service for people, and you're trying your best, and you're spending money to have the best tools that you can have, and you do a job for somebody, and they come in at the end, because that's like, that's a big upside to being in this industry is, the to me, I think the two biggest things you can do to a house is paint floors. It's going to make the biggest difference, right? So you go into a house and get there, it looks dingy and it's some old carpet, and it doesn't look great, and you go in and you change the entire look of the house. The customer comes in at the end and they're happy with it. Like,
mm-hmm.
they got a smile on their face, it looks good, they're 100% happy with the services they got from beginning to end. That's the best feeling, man. And for us, like, in most flooring jobs, if you're doing a residential job, it's a lot of them are a day, a lot of them are 3 days, a lot of them are a week. So it's like a quick turnover. You have a lot of jobs, and you get to see that a lot. And I feel like that's a huge thing, and that's a good feeling to be able to see that all the time. They say, like, I heard something a couple weeks ago. It said, if you really love your job, if you like really really love your job, it's because you're doing your job right? Because you're
Hmm.
doing a good job at what you're doing. A lot of people that hate their job and they wake up every day and they don't want to go to work, it's because, man, they don't care about what they're doing. They don't care. It's like, doesn't interest them. It's like not getting them anywhere. They're not happy about it. But I love my job. Like, I
Yeah.
love what I do. I try to do a good job at it. And, seeing the customer's face when you finish their house and they're happy with it, that's a big thing, man. And that's something that, a lot of people don't get to see. A lot of people, like, when you build a house and you put the bricks up, you don't get to see what the customer, how they feel about that. That's their house. That's
Yeah.
the biggest purchase of their life. You don't get to see their face when they see that, or do they even care about the brick? You know what I mean? But people definitely care about the new flooring in their house, or the new paint, or the new backsplash, or the new shower. So
Yep.
I think yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I love to see people's faces every day when we do a good job for them, and when we're doing a good job at what we're doing. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I'm dude, 100% with you. It makes it so easy to continue to do what we do when you
Yep.
get that instant gratification like on a daily basis, right? You start a project and you rip out their old carpet and they're like, "Oh, I'm so thankful that disgusting pea-ridden carpet's gone." And you're like, "Hey, no problem."
Yep.
Like that's what we do. And then you get the
It's
concrete floor
gone, but
cleaned
we got to
up and
drive with it in the van home and go dump it. But it's gone.
I ain't
We
got to
got
do
yeah.
that anymore, but man, I've had some doozies.
Yeah.
But then they come in, right? And they're like, you're just getting the first couple of rows in, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It looks good. And then you finish the room, they're like, oh my gosh, it looks good. And then you put baseboards up,
Yeah.
and they're like, I can't believe how much of a difference the baseboards make. Like every step along the way, they're like, they're just in love with what you're doing. And so it makes it really easy to be excited about what you're doing and
Yep.
feel good about it, as opposed to, like you said, right? There's people that get to help build a house, but they never get to see what the client thinks about it. Or there's people that are stuck
Yep.
in cubicles spending Monday through Friday, 40 hours in a week to put a bunch of numbers in a spreadsheet to get it to spit out a graph at the end of the week. You
Yeah.
get 1 second of gratification, and that's if you care about what the spreadsheet actually produced you.
Yep.
I love what we do, man.
I love what
It's
we do,
so
man. And
easy. It gets
man,
people
I was
so
just talking
excited.
to my partner Chris the other day, because man, my partner is, which a lot of people will probably say, oh, it's the worst idea in the world. Don't work with your friend. But me and this guy, we grew up together. I've known him since I was a kid. Like I said, I grew up doing flooring. When he came and started working, me and him started working together. He had never done it before in his life.
Mm-hmm.
So he done a little bit of tile, actually. Like he'd worked a little bit. We worked together for like 5 years. I trained him. He went out on his own and killed it, man. And to me, man, like that's one of the biggest accomplishments that I think of in my career. Like
Mm-hmm.
I taught this guy how to do something. He went out on his own and killed it. Was like super successful, doing great. And that's like the biggest thing for me, man. Like that was like huge for me. I love that. That was awesome. And then we ended up, coming together and partnering up, and we're going to start a step above flooring. But that's awesome to be able to see him do that. And I forget what I was getting at with that, but
Well, and I don't blame you for having a partnership. Look, they're not for everybody. Like it would not work
yeah,
for me. I know my personality. It's not going to fly. So
yeah,
that's fine. If you two are sitting there, like I just interviewed Daniel and Jose Gonzalez from Preferred Flooring in Michigan
yeah,
again,
yeah.
and look, they're
The
brothers,
vinyl
man.
guys,
Like, I'm sorry, what?
the vinyl guys.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
They have a partnership and they're brothers, which probably makes it even tougher sometimes, but
yeah,
they talk through it, they work through it, they do what's best for the company. And if you can put in the effort into your business partnership that you would put into your own marriage, it'll be successful.
yep.
It's
It's pretty
going to
much the
take
same
effort. It's
because
exactly the
yeah,
same. There's no difference.
yeah. Yeah, there's a lot you have to be willing to, and here's the thing with me and my partner is that, we're good at different, we think the same way. We have the same mindset when we're on the job, and we want the outcome to be the same, right? Like we're both not trying to cut any corners, or, we have the same mindset, but our brains work completely different. Like he's super good with numbers and analytical and all that, and I'm the opposite. Like I'm good with research, and uh, you know, I'm good with my own stuff. He's good with
Hmm.
it. I'm good with a lot. I'm not gonna get into all that, but he's good with the numbers, and he's good. I'm good with my own stuff. So it evens out, and we can split up our duties between us. You know what I mean? He's got his stuff he can worry about. I got my stuff I can worry about, and we meet in the middle. And it's a lot of workload off of me, and I can take a lot off of him. it works out, I think.
Yeah,
So,
I'm with you.
but it's hard to find that common ground, man. It really is. It's hard, but I feel like we do good at it, and that's all that matters.
As long as it's working and you keep communication open, you'll be fine, right? Like if you're not trying to go behind each other's back and you're not fighting over small details, like
Yeah.
you're going to be able to make it work, right? You just have to talk through the things and be able to come
Yep.
to an agreement. And I don't think I personally think people might hate me for this, but I personally think compromise is a horrible idea because
Really?
neither party's truly getting what you want, right?
Right.
And so you're always going to be kind of resentful of what you compromised on because you wanted something different. And I think there's a way to work. You may ultimately have to compromise, but I think you can do it in a way where once you talk through things and you truly understand where the person's coming from, especially with business, right? Like if we're just going to break it down to numbers, you have to get to that point where you're understanding the numbers and seeing what they're saying and truly believe it, right? And then I don't think you're compromising. Like you finally understand what's being shown to you. And I think a lot of people get into situations where they get sick of the fight and whatever's being discussed, and they just say, "Let's just call it this," and then I'm good with it. But they're not
Right.
because they didn't want to do it, and so you can't necessarily. I mean, I guess it's what I'm describing is still compromising, but you're getting to like the adult end of compromising instead
Yeah.
of like the childish like woe is me, I just want it my way and that's the only, you have to get past that. You have to actually work through the issue. You have to be willing to be open and see what they're telling you. You can't be closed minded and just push it off.
Yeah. I think that's important. Yeah. You definitely have to be open minded and willing to accept that what this person is telling me might be better than what I'm thinking for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm good with doing that. Like I can do that, and I think he can too. So I think that's fine. But you know, it it's all growing pains and stuff you go through. As long as you can work through it and find common ground, it's nothing wrong with compromise. I think compromise is great. So,
Because that,
but you have to
yeah,
you have to you have to find that common ground, and we can do that.
yeah.
But man, sometimes, man, because I know you. We've been talking lately, and last time I talked to you on the phone, you were just spread thin and running wild, and delivering this, and you
Yep.
know how it is. So I got a podcast to do at 9, and I got this delivery and this job and that job, and I got to call this distributor and this customer and do this bid. So sometimes it's good, man, to have that little bit of extra help, and so I can have that help while I, go do this bid or
Mm-hmm.
read this book or and whatever it is. Sometimes it's good to split that up, but if you're gonna split it up, you have to realize that if you're gonna have a partner and you're gonna split up duties and do all that, you better realize that you're gonna have to make twice as much money because I'm not doing this just to make a little bit of money or, half the money I should be making. I'm trying to make a lot of money. So if we're going to be partners, then it's got to be a situation where you're bringing as much to the table as I'm bringing to the table. And together, we're going to make more money than we would by ourselves, right? And
Yeah.
I know in the position that I'm in right now, I believe that with my partner, I'm going to make more money than I would if I was by myself. And I know for him, he's going to make more money with me. So that's not even, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, it does.
There
It
you
does.
go.
You're right. It wouldn't make sense to put the two powers together if combined they're not going to do more and
Exactly.
push you further. So I'm with you. And as long as you both understand that and you're willing, I think that's where a lot of things break down is people do like these 60-40, 50-50 partnerships. And You know, they don't feel that they are both bringing an equal amount to the table to push everything forward. And that's where the issues develop, right? It's not necessarily
Yeah.
how well the business is doing or which direction. Sometimes it's which direction the business should go, but
Yeah.
it's
I feel like
I'm
though a
doing all
lot of
this
people,
stuff and you're not doing anything and you're just over there. But
yeah,
man,
everybody always feels like they're doing more, right? I think like I know there's probably been a lot of partnerships where both people felt like they were doing more. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, I'm
Because
sure.
you always forget, all the little stuff the other person's doing, the phone calls and the texts and all the other little stuff that goes into, running a business. You don't always see that. So you just got to have a partnership where you 100% believe, because I know I believe in myself. Like I've recently gained the confidence in myself that I 100% believe like I'm on the right track. I know what I'm doing and I have goals and I'm going to get there. And if you believe in your partner the same way you believe in yourself, then it'll be good. But you got to just trust them that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And, you can't question every little thing that they're doing. And did they do this? Did they do that? Or, oh, I answered 8 phone calls today. And it can't be
Yeah.
about that. It's just got to be trust. You have to have trust and you got to believe in the person and grow together, and it'll work out fine. There's been plenty of successful partnerships.
Oh
You
yeah.
just gotta be that trust.
Well, it's funny you talk about that, and it's the exact same why a lot of guys or gals can't get past the owner operator stage, right? They get stuck and they get burned out and they get sick of trying to hire an apprentice because they
Yep.
leave or they don't feel they can leave them on a job alone or whatever. Exactly what you just said. At some point, you have to take that leap of faith. You took a leap of faith to start a business and that you were going to be able to support yourself. Okay.
Yep.
So now you have to take this leap of faith to trust this other person enough and leave them there that they're going to fulfill the duties you've given them. And so not only do you have to trust your partner to fulfill the duties that you two have split up, but now you're going to have these employees and these subcontractors you're handing things off to, and you have to believe in them and trust them and have that same faith in them. And so
Yeah.
you talk about having confidence in yourself, man, and like it takes a
And
while,
that's hard to do sometimes. That's hard to do, but
yeah.
you have to set the culture within your business and the expectations within your business and within your team from the beginning. And if you want to do that, right? Like
Oh yeah.
everybody who's in the circle and we're all working together towards this common goal, everybody has to know what's expected and what kind of product we're trying to put out or what kind of service we're trying to put out or, what's our brand? What are we trying to accomplish? And if everybody's not on the same page, then it's not going to work out. Because I'm in that position right now. Like me and Chris, we have, you know, 4 crews that we subcontract work to, and we
Mm-hmm.
have, there's 10 of us that all work together right now and toward this common goal that we're trying to get to. And I feel like we've really, and that's what me and Chris have been talking about lately, is that, right now we have the team and the infrastructure to accomplish a lot. Like we have a very good team around us, and I believe in them, and I know they believe in me. So we have the team that we can really accomplish a lot and do a lot. We just have to, all work together towards this common goal, and everybody believe in what the next man is doing, and we'll get there. And that's what it's all about, man. Is 10 people working towards a common goal and trying to get to a certain place. And if everybody believes in it and everybody knows the expectations and, what's expected of each person,
Mm-hmm.
you can really accomplish a lot. And I kind of think that's where we're at right now is like, all right, we've been doing this builder work and subcontractor work, and we're all in this position and we're doing very well at it. Let's take it to the next level and let's all accomplish more together. And that's what we're trying to do right now. But I've also been trying to, because in the spot I'm in right now is like don't have to rush anything. You know what I mean? Like we're all, me and all my guys that work with me, we're all working every day. Everybody's making good money. So it's not like, a lot of times you start a business and you're starting from nothing. Like you have to put everything all into it and hit the ground running right off the bat. And
Yeah.
I'm not really at that spot. Like I can, you know, spend a lot of time working towards it and spend money on, building a website and getting somebody to make me a logo and, doing all this stuff to where when I get ready to launch my business, it's where I want it to be. And, I'm launching it knowing, this is our purpose and this is what we're going to do and this is what we're trying to accomplish. So I feel like
Yeah.
that's a good thing. And man, I have the right team around me right now to do that. So I'm excited about that, man. Cause like I said, I've been in this business for a long time. I've done floors I grew up doing this. And I feel like everything I've done to this point has led me to where I'm at. You know what I mean? Like I see, a market around me. I see what there's a need for, what there's not a need for. I see what everybody's doing wrong. And it's easy to say you see it and to, be in my position and say that like, oh, I see what everybody's doing wrong. But, I feel like I really do. Like
Mm-hmm.
I pay attention to that stuff. And, my dad was an installation manager and I know I have very good relationships with salespeople, and I know a lot of people that run flooring bits. So I feel like I've seen every aspect of it, and I know the market, and especially my market, very well. And I know what's needed in my market. Like right now, there's not a dustless tile removal company in my market. Like
Oh, dude.
it's a big need,
There's so
right?
much money right there alone.
There's
I'm not
so
even
much.
kidding.
I know there's so much money into that, and there's a little bit of money to get the equipment you need, but not a whole lot. But Kyle, there's nobody in my market doing dustless tile removal.
But
So
there's more money. Here's the sad part, okay? My demo guy says it all the time. There's more money in removal than there is in installation, and he's not
right,
lying. And so to go and get that equipment, you don't even need step above flooring. You just need step above removal or whatever you want to call it. Like you set up a demo only thing and you convert all these guys that are installing right now to be
and demo
like
is
demo
so
only
much easier
guys,
than
dude.
installation. Like you just need one good lead guy and some laborers to do a good demo
He
job,
had
right?
they did what'd they do? They were on my project on Friday, and it was 1,100 square feet. So I think it was like 800 square feet of saltillo, 300
Yeah,
feet of hardwood. They were in at the 8:15 ish maybe somewhere around there, and they were gone by 4:30. So in like 8 hours, 5 guys destroyed it. They got it all up. It's all clean. It's all ready to go, and that was that. And it
yeah,
cost me. Well, no, let's see. It was 450 times 1,100, 45, 40, like 4,900 ish
yeah.
is what the retail rate on that would have been. And so he pays his guys well, man. Don't get me wrong. Like even if he's paying 5 guys $25 an hour,
He's still making
he's
doing.
still even after maintenance and expenses and taxes, like there's good money in demo, guys. Don't go get
Yep,
yourself some dustless removal equipment.
yep. And
And
I actually just
I'll
did.
plug his company real quick. Dustcuff.com.
Yep,
DUSTCUFF. It's Jesse Boswell. I got an episode with him a long time ago.
yep. I've listened
He's
to it.
yeah, he's an
And he's the
amazing
one
guy. He's
that's
got great
selling
equipment.
that equipment and stuff that you showed me. The
Yep.
what's it called?
That Havoc. Yeah.
Yes,
And
the
then
Havoc.
there's the demo sled, the Havoc, and the Storm. So
Yeah,
you've got an attachment for your demo hammer, your SDS Plus version, and your SDS Max version, and then there's a sled to be able to put the actual demo hammer in, and
yeah. I've checked his
it
whole
takes
site, seen
off.
everything he's got, man.
I
That's
actually
awesome.
I hadn't used the sled before. I just grabbed it from one of his guys on Friday. I was like, "Can I borrow this real quick?" And I started taking up some stuff, and I was like, oh, it is
Awesome.
ergonomically designed and better. It's worth the money. I was like, I hate
Yeah.
you, Jesse. I will spend money. So I haven't
Yeah.
ordered it
If
yet,
you
but I'm sure I
if you
will.
can get to doing that every day, you know what I mean? Like, because right now, I don't do a lot of tile removal. I do tile removal on jobs that I'm installing and they need tile removal.
Hmm.
But I just did really my first job. I've done tons of tile removal being in the flooring industry, but I did the first job I've ever done where I really had all the equipment I needed somewhat to do dustless tile removal. Like I don't have the entire, setup that you have, but I went and took up 500 square feet of tile. And when I left at the end of the day, there was no dust, right?
Yep.
So no matter what you had to get there, the key is at the end of the day, I left that house and there was no dust. Like this
Correct.
customer did not have to clean up dust for 3 months.
And that
And
and that
all I
comes at a
had
premium.
was, um, exactly, that comes at a premium. But all I had was a good shop vac, a dust deputy, a good grinder with a dust shroud, a good demo hammer, and I found a way to hook up my shop vac and dust deputy to my demo hammer, right?
Yep.
And just doing, and then putting plenty of plastic up and making sure everything's covered and making sure I used my backpack vac at the end of the day and clean up the little bit of dust that was left. So I
Hmm.
did that and I took up 500 feet of tile and the house was clean at the end of the day, right? So for me, and this customer that I actually did that for, they had just had like 6 months ago, they had somebody take up some tile and install new and literally left them with 3 months of dust. So it was like, to them, it was like the best thing in the world. Like they loved it. They were so happy. It
Yep.
was a huge deal. And for me, and that's what I tell them is just as happy as you are, I promise you I feel the same way because I've took up a lot of tile in my life and I've never invested the money to have all this big equipment to be able to do it right. So, it's a process. And a lot of times when you're, uh, starting out, you don't have the money to do all that. You don't have the money. But, man, if you just invest in yourself and invest in what you're doing and believe in what you're doing, then it's worth it at the end of the day. Because, you can take up tile and leave the whole house dusted up for $2 a square foot, or you can spend a little bit of money and get what you need and take it up for $4 or $5 or whatever it is you want to charge. And
Yep.
at the end of the day, you're going to be better off doing the latter. So
Well, and
for the customer and yourself.
it's like you said, right? You have a good system rolling now, but you're trying to implement a better system, and so you're not in a
Yep.
hurry to jump into it. You have money coming in. You're able to invest, and I think a lot of times guys get distracted because they see people with the expensive wet saw or the big
Yeah.
the big vacuum or whatever it is that you're looking at and you're like awing in somebody else's truck or a picture on a Facebook group.
Yep.
Dude, it takes time, man.
It's a process.
You gotta you can go start with the $10 hammer from Home Depot, and in a couple of months when you're rolling in some jobs and you have a little bit of extra money, man, you can buy the $30 hammer.
Yep.
You don't need it now, man. I had some Harbor Freight tools when I started.
Yep.
It
Me
don't
too.
like it's I don't
And
have them anymore, but
they got me through a couple jobs and then they
correct.
broke down and I had to get something else. But, it's a process, man. Everybody starts somewhere and every person you see out there with that brand new IQ saw or, that eliminator vacuum or whatever it is that you have, it's like,
Yeah.
you didn't start there. You didn't go out and start laying floors, with that stuff. And,
No, man. I found I'll be honest, dude. I had it was either the Black Friday or the Father's Day, like Home Depot shop vac special.
yep,
And you couldn't even, the way it was designed, the bags that they sell to go inside of the shop vac, so like less dust comes out through them, doesn't even hook up to that model.
right.
It was $40, dude. And but I needed a vacuum and I got myself a vacuum. So Dude, I started with some garbage stuff. I can't look. Dude, I already said I was selling stuff out of a 2002 Chevy Cavalier. Like, what kind of floor guy pulls up in a car? Okay, I didn't even
Yeah.
have a truck. Like, I wasn't taking any trash with me. Maybe I was. I think I would take boxes if they had new. Like, I wouldn't put it in their trash. I would load the boxes into my car with me and take the boxes home. But like, yeah, it
But
was
man, that's
bad.
a big testament to, it's a lot, man, a lot of it is just mindset and just believing in what you're doing and where you're trying to get to, and understanding that I may be in a Chevy Cavalier now, but I'm gonna go do this job and I'm gonna make $1,500. And when I finish this job, I'm gonna buy me a brand new table saw. And with that
Yep.
table saw, I'm gonna go do another job and I'm gonna make 2 grand. And then I'm gonna buy an old beat up Ford van. And then I'm not in a Cavalier anymore. I'm in a van. So I'm gonna
Correct.
do this. It's
That
a
was it.
process, man, and you got to work your way up. But the main thing is to, and I feel like where a lot of people uh, miss out is they're not willing to invest in themselves and invest in what they're doing. They make their check, they go spend it on whatever, and keep doing the same. They keep pulling up in the Chevy Cavalier, and that's where you fail, man. You have to keep working towards being better and getting away from those bottom end jobs, because there's always a market for those bottom end jobs that people want to pay
Oh yeah,
$1 square foot for, but it's
it's
working
there.
away from that and getting to the next level and not staying at that forever. Because for me, man, that's like the worst thing for me, and where I've always been, like, where I get the most stressed and depressed, or just tore up, is when I feel like I'm stagnant and I didn't make more money this year than I did last year, or I'm stuck in this position, and it literally drives me insane, man. Like, it
Yeah.
bothers me so bad. So I keep trying to get better and get better. And because, like I said, man, I started working for myself when I was 23 years old. Like, I was super young. I wasn't ready. I made so many mistakes along the way. I was just lucky to have, good people in my corner that were willing to help me and teach me the right way and guide me along the way. And I'm also, a lot of it is that I care about what I'm doing. Like, at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, even when I was 23 years old, the most important thing to me was always, I'm going to do a good job for this person. Like, no matter
Yeah.
what, even if I'm in the Chevy Cavalier, I'm going to do the very best job I can for these people with what I have. And if you start with that mindset when you're in a Chevy Cavalier and you have Harbor Freight tools, and you keep that all the way till when you're in, a brand new van and you have all the best tools and you're doing the very best job then too, and giving the best service and, installation you can, then it's going to be top notch, and that's where you want to be. So it's like, it's a process,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's a long journey from the start
It's
to
not a race.
where you want to be. So
It's not a sprint. It's a race, right? Like you
yeah,
can just
yeah.
let you can take your time. You're gonna get there. So Nathan, I think you've been fooling me, dude. Because you keep calling
Like I
me.
said,
Because you keep calling me and you keep wanting business advice, and
yeah,
you just ran this whole show. You didn't ask me a single question, dude.
yeah. What you don't understand though is I've called, man. That's all I've been doing lately. It's just calling people, man. And so I've called you, I've called Ken, Billy Graham, like everybody, man. And being a part of this group, man, has been a huge help to me and a huge confidence booster to me in what I'm doing. But
hmm
that's all I've been doing lately, man, is just talking to people and doing research, and
you
a
know
lot
what
of
you're
people in
doing.
my local market too. So
You know what you're doing, man. I can, by the way you're talking, the way you're describing, you've got passion, you've got smarts. Like you're gonna put it together and make it work. You might stumble here and there, but I think we all do.
yeah,
Like you're not, nobody's
yeah,
perfect, but you know more than you're having in these conversations. Honestly, I've had them. I had questions about like hiring an employee, and I called Jason Goldberg and chatted with him for like half an hour about it. And he was like,
Yeah.
I'm
He's
not
in
gonna.
my market, man. He's just like a couple, 50 miles away from me. I'm in Lexington. He's in
Okay,
Louisville. So,
yeah. And he essentially told me, he's like, I can't make this decision for you, right? And I was like, oh
yeah.
no, I don't expect you to. I was like, I just wanted to run it through somebody that's been in the situation and make sure that my like thinking was correct. And he was like, yeah, no, you're fine. You just need to make a decision. I was like, ugh,
Yeah.
yeah, I know, but
Because that's been my thing, man. It's like, I've been in my local market for so long and talked to these people. And then when I got a part of all these groups and I've seen, all these people from across the United States, I just want to talk to them. So I'll just reach out and send you a message or
Mhm.
Ken or Billy or whoever and just say, hey, I'm Nate. What you're doing is awesome. Man, you're killing it. Just talk to me. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
tell me what's going on over there. And that, man, I love that, man. I just like to see what everybody else is doing. And
yeah. I mean,
so,
that's where this started. I just was
yeah,
curious what everybody else had going on and how to do it better. So, um, we didn't get to 20 questions. So I'll say that if you honestly like, I know I had you come up with some questions before we did this. So if you want to post those in the Floor Academy group, there are more than enough qualified people in there to give you 5,000 different answers. Well, there's not
yeah,
5,000 members, but post them up in there, man. Let's see the conversation we can get going up in there.
yep,
And then
yeah. I got them all written down right here.
you got tons of experience. So if people want to reach out to you and they want to know something, how do they get a hold of you? Where do they find you? How do they reach you?
You can find me on Facebook at Hyden's Hardwood. My email is Hyden46@gmail.com, which Hyden's Hardwood, that's on its way out, and Step Above Flooring's on its way in, but my number won't change. It's 859-382-4314. And I'm always like, I would love for somebody to, because you know me, I call everybody to ask a question. I would love for somebody to call me and ask a question. Like, I'll answer any question. If I have an answer, I'll give it to you. If I don't have it, then
Man,
I'll find you somebody who will,
I'm
who
still
has the
yeah.
answer. So,
Man, I'm still amazed. You or anybody calls me, I'm like, I don't even know what I'm talking about half the time.
man, you don't give yourself enough credit, man. You're
uh,
killing it, bro. You've been doing this for 5 years, and you know
uh,
everybody. So,
ah,
you know, no matter what, you're doing something right, man. Like how to. I think the main thing you know how to do, Kyle, is you know how to bring people together, man. You're a leader, and you know how to bring people together, man. And that's a very important quality, man. And that's something that not a lot of. And you love to soak up knowledge, man, and that's huge too. So you gotta give yourself more credit, man, because
uh,
I think what you're doing, man, is so important and so huge, man. Like
I
I
appreciate
don't
it.
think what you probably don't realize like how important your podcast is for a lot of people and how it's brought a lot of people in this industry together that probably never would have met each other. So give
You,
yourself more credit, man. I think you're killing it.
you're probably right. I just, you know what? After experiencing reality television, right? Because that's what I used to do, and
Yeah.
seeing what that world can do to people, like on the star side of it, and on just Hollywood in general. Like, I'm the big star,
Right.
man. I just I gotta talk myself down because I don't want to get that big head,
Yeah.
dude. I don't want that
I hear you.
complex.
You know, that ego.
No, I don't need
Like
that.
I
Don't
know
need that.
you get on Ken all the time, right? With his
He
ego.
started that. Okay, that's he
Yeah.
did that, not me.
Yeah. I didn't say it. I know you said it. I don't know Ken like that to be talking about his
No,
ego.
no, no, no. He said it in his first episode. All right. He said he loves to see his name in print. All right. That was go back.
Hey, I'll
You
tell you
listen to
something about Ken.
episode 1. It's in there.
Every time I've reached out to Ken, just like you, if I send him a message and I have a question for him or I want to know about this or that, man, he's on it. He sends me a message back. He's helpful.
Yes.
He's not trying to talk down. And man, that's what is, I feel like is so important is in these groups is like, don't make people feel like shit or feel bad because they posted a picture of their work. give them constructive criticism and say, hey man, you're killing it, and what you're doing is right, but maybe do this a little bit different next time. Because it takes a lot, man, to post your work and put it on a group like that. And a lot of times that's what people are looking for, is just, give me some guidance and tell me what I should be doing, but don't break me down and make me never want to do it again,
Correct. If you don't have something positive to say, man, scroll on by. Keep scrolling. So, well, right on, dude.
Each other up,
Yes. Well, once we can take it back to Ken, we'll let him inflate his ego a little bit just this once. And a rising tide lifts all ships. Go be the rising tide. Stop being the moon and pulling it out. Okay, come on.
Yeah, because you never know who, like you say, you never know who that person is that you're talking to. He might end up being this mill rep or owning that store or doing, you know what I mean? You never know where somebody's going to go. So everybody starts somewhere.
Yep.
And you don't know where they're going. And if you just build people up and give them a little bit of confidence, sometimes that's all people need, man.
I'm with you. All right, my friend. I absolutely enjoyed it. I love the direction this went. You have the confidence that you have grown in yourself should be so much higher, just like you were telling me, right? Like I can take a little more credit. You know what you're doing, dude. You're on a good path, and I'm excited to see where Step Above goes. So,
man, I appreciate it, and I am too. And I know where it's gonna go. Like, I have a very, very clear vision in my head, and I 100% believe, and I more than anything I've ever believed in my life. Like, I know where I'm gonna go with this, and I just got to keep on that path. So, but I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, and we'll talk again soon.
Awesome. All right, man. You have a good night.
You too, buddy.
You too. Later. That's all the time we have for this week. To keep the conversation going, head on over to the Floor Academy Facebook group. Be sure to subscribe so you can hear each and every episode. We can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and most major podcast directories. Don't forget to leave a review and let us know what you think about the show. If you would like to be a guest, have questions or feedback, you can email us at flooracademypodcast@gmail.com. You can help support the show by becoming a patron over at www.patreon.com/flooracademy. Remember to learn while you earn.